It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
If you're a facilities manager at a warehouse and your HVAC system goes down, it can turn up the heat. Literally. But don't sweat it. Grainger has you covered. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products for all your operations, including warehouse HVAC maintenance. And even better, they offer access to experts and fast delivery, so you and your warehouse can both keep your cool. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer, whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again. Welcome in to the Shades of Blue Soccer Show. We are the KC Soccer Journal. My name is Cody Bradley, Thad Bell, Kerry Robinson, and David Greenwald are here with me. It is a beautiful Sunday. I'm not burned out by what happened this weekend or the last 4 days, and that in the last 4 days, our last two hopes disappeared so quickly. But look outside, Thad. It's a beautiful day. I'm feeling good. I'm proud of the boys in the Open Cup game. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the current. We're going to talk about the St. Louis game, reluctantly. I think we're going to start with that, as that's probably where we should start. But please do go subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Please leave us a review. We appreciate that very much. Thad, thank you for being here. You were a little late. It was a late night for you. You had a rough morning getting here.
Yeah, I got home last night about 3:30, I think. And then I was woken up by wife going, "Hey, daughter just called, flat tire. She's crying. She hit a curb."
Hey.
The new curbs for the
bump outs.
For the new streetcar system.
Yeah.
So yeah, she turned and caught one of those that blew the tire out.
Was this on a manual cleaver? His daughter's like my neighbor, actually.
Yes.
So that's how. Yeah. So it's those. Yeah. The new bump. It's actually not even for the streetcar. That's for a separator of a bike lane that is coming in eventually there. And yeah, they snuck up on you.
Yeah. She said she was like watching out for the other one and hit she was watching out for one and hit the other one. So.
Yeah, and people drive like maniacs on that road. So what are you gonna do?
I blame Mayor Q. Do better. Do better. Send him a bill. Send him the invoice for the new tire.
I might.
You think he listens to this?
Yes, for sure.
Do you know any good lawyers that I can have them draft up for suing them for it?
Do I know any good lawyers? No. Do I know lawyers? Yes.
Yeah, that was like my punchline. You took it.
Yeah. Made the joke about himself. Good job, David.
You know, we've talked a handful of times about why I was off the pod for the better part of this year. But as I was knocking on doors, talking to people, one guy asked me, he's like, if you want my vote, I need to know your favorite lawyer joke of all time. And I was like, okay, well, what do you call 100,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? And he's like, what? Like, a good start. And he's like, okay, I'll check the box for you. I'm self-aware. I know how people feel about us.
You just said we have talked about why you weren't here for a couple months?
It's been alluded to. It's been mentioned.
I was like, I'm not sure we ever did. Actually
I don't know that it's like a secret, but I prefer to stay on soccer and not on.
That's good.
Other things that might have more controversy.
You guys know I love to only talk about soccer on this podcast. So.
Yeah, which is why we've already talked about flat tires and cutouts and streetcars and lawyers and
look. Politics is very polarizing, and I did not want there to be negative attention on our podcast based on,
And it's October in an election year.
Yeah, so I just was trying to deflect away from it,
Which is why it was always alluded to, because I know I said things, but I just wanted to leave it open if you wanted to say anything. So.
Yeah, this is not the platform for me to shill on.
No, it's not. Let's talk about the St. Louis game last night.
Can we not?
Like I said, I'm still feeling pretty good. I didn't watch the game live. After going 120 minutes, Carrie, you and I talked about that. Right after that game ended, it was like, Oh, we're going to get rocked in St. Louis too, aren't we? After 120 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, when you play more than 90 minutes of soccer and you go play your rivals, it's not going to...
An emotional 120.
Yeah. It's not going to go well at all.
And they rested. They didn't travel. All of that came into play too.
So the last two hopes of the season are gone. We don't really have anything to play for. All but officially done.
Yeah, it's what is left to play for. I think that is going to be the question, right?
Yeah, hopefully we can figure that out later. We're going to try to find something later that we can play for.
The answer is easy. The future.
The future. Vaguely. We'll keep it vague. Tease it for later.
Okay.
Segment 3, it's coming. But it's vaguely the future. How about, let's start on this game. So 3-1 loss against St. Louis Shitty. Let's start with that front line, Thad. The wings of the front line. Vargas and Afrifa got the starts.
They did, and I was shooting the game, so I always have a little bit different view, or sometimes lack of view. I didn't think either one of them was really spectacular by any means. Afrifa had a couple of good moments. Obviously, the goal that came later.
Yeah, he did. At the beginning of that game, Afrifa had kind of the only moments, it looked like, for Sporting KC. Like, he was really the only one that looked like doing anything.
Again, it was weird at halftime. I looked at the stats, and Sporting was actually leading in XG, close to halftime. I think it was like right before the goal, they were actually leading in XG and some other stuff. But obviously, St. Louis had the possession and all that stuff. But I think they put up a valiant fight for all of the things that went into coming to this game. Like tired, the not regular starters, all that. I think they put up a pretty valiant fight. It was just that it was pretty much destined to lose.
Some people are listening right now, rolling their eyes at that. They put up a valiant fight, and just because it's so pessimistic, season is pretty much done now.
I know. I kind of hate that though. Like, you always got to expect them to win every game, and they're always going to be able to overcome, no matter how bad refs are, no matter how bad travel is, no matter how bad whatever is. Have some realism. I know people are pessimistic, man, and there's reasons to be critical of players and management moves and which flavor of hot dog they have in a stadium or whatever they want to criticize.
Hold on.
David's got thoughts on the hot dog.
There's different flavors of hot dog? I understand there's different flavor of bratwurst.
Yeah, is that what you were going for? Flavors of hot dog, as in like there's a hot dog and then there's sausages and then there's bratwurst. Is that really just what you were going for there?
I kind of left up your whole weenie interpretation to you. So hot dogs, brats, sausages. Have you never had like a hot dog that maybe had more garlic to it? I don't know.
No.
Really?
More garlic.
I'll go say I'm not like a hot dog connoisseur, but I don't recall hot dogs having different flavors unless you're talking kosher hot dog versus non-kosher hot dog. And frankly, if you're getting anything other than like a Hebrew National, what are you doing?
Well, Nathan's or Hebrew National is the two that I would do.
See, all beef versus chicken, pork, and beef mixed all in there.
Yeah, whatever. But like a hot dog tastes like hot dog, doesn't it?
No, otherwise why would there be better ones? Like there are better hot dogs.
Yeah, they're all beef.
David, did Sporting perform valiantly against St. Louis?
No, they sucked.
Care to elaborate on that?
What else is there to say? They sucked. Look, we heavily rotated. And is that a feature of the season being over and there's nothing substantively to play for? Maybe. Is it having played a lengthy cup final, mere days before?
Yeah.
Probably also some of that too. I mean, I think it's a mixture of everything. From a fan's perspective, right? From a purely a fan's perspective, this is the only thing that was left to play for was a rivalry match. There's nothing really at stake other than shoving little brother's face in it. And they punted, right? We played an almost entirely rotated team against their, if not best 11, arguably their best 11, right? They rolled out all of their DPs, and we didn't try.
Which one did you want them to try for harder, though? Open Cup or St. Louis?
No, obviously the Open Cup. But
you're blaming them for like having went all in on Open Cup and then not having the legs and the resources to play a really good match the next game.
I am blaming the team for not having the resources to be able to compete in more than one competition.
Yeah, so he's going all the way back to the argument at the beginning of the season again that the roster itself wasn't good enough, which
would you have liked to see suffer ball and just have those players continue playing?
Yeah. Yeah, throw Johnny back out there and start this one again after the 120. The dude was so dead at the end of that game.
He was. He's out of contract at the end of the year.
So yes was your answer to that? Jesus.
I
Run
man.
him into the ground.
You know, the legs fall off. It's been a good few years. Like, oh, well.
He wants to ride Russell like a rental car.
No, I like getting my deposit back.
What did you think of the two wingers that we started?
You know, I've wanted to see more from them all season. You know, especially in a year where Daniel has not been at his best. I've wanted more rotation, more minutes, because the only way for them to improve is to play in actual games.
Daniel's breaking my heart this year.
He'll be fine. But I think that Vargas more than Afrifa has a super high ceiling for the league. I don't know that he'll ever be a Champions League winner, but I think he has a lot of talent, a lot of potential. It's fun watching a guy that fast. It's almost like Gerso, like a younger version of Gerso with like less refined. But when we're going to play like that, and I will say, you know, we did play a little bit more, not bunker ball, but like somewhat similar to the strategy we played last year in the playoffs against St. Louis and like forced them to try and possess and try to make them actually play with the ball. But, you know, all season long, it seems like when we've played Afrifa, when we've played Vargas, we've not played to their strengths, which is like route one, hoof it into the channel, let them outrun everybody.
Yeah.
Vargas is so much faster than everybody else. Just hoof it long and let him run onto the ball.
The
and just
Temwa
be-
Chawinga strategy.
and just be chaotic. Well, I think Temwa has more skill than Vargas, and that's not disrespectful to Vargas, but more of a commentary on how awesome Temwa is. But
Well, and again, a reminder, Vargas is the one that started playing soccer when he was like 17 or
Yeah.
18. So
Right.
it's only been a handful of years
Right.
that he has played this sport.
But he's missed on those formative years.
Yes.
But a guy like that, he's chaos merchant. Let him run onto the ball and just terrorize people, and he'll duff chances and he'll turn the ball over deep in the opposing territory and everything, but he'll create chaos, and from that will come goals. We have not played to his strengths at all this year. He's not at his best with the ball at his feet trying to combine and play 1-2s. That's not who he is. He's not Johnny.
I have historically been on your side that Vargas maybe had the higher ceiling than Afrifa, but I think Afrifa showed more last night than he ever has in an appearance. Like I saw more from him, more confidence even on like taking guys on, and I really liked what I saw from him.
I mean, he's had a couple other good performances too, where I felt like he was showing what he could do. Part of this year, he just had lost confidence, and he was like getting beat on every time he tried to beat. You know, he tried to dribble somebody, he would get it taken away from him and look kind of silly at times. But he had the potential, and that's what I mean. Peter had talked him up so much in preseason, and then he got to regular season and had like a bad touch, and everything went to crap. And then he kind of finally got it back, and I think getting called up to Canada is just going to help more too. Just that confidence that he can be that player.
Carrie, what do you think of the youth on the wings last night?
I mean, not to jump to segment 3, but I'm excited just to see what's going to happen with these two.
Yeah.
That's really all there is to say. There's not. I liked Vargas for chaos. I mean, whenever he takes a shot, that shot has power every
Yeah.
single time. Like, I would be scared if I'm sitting behind the goal. And
He swings a hammer through that ball. That it's surprising seeing that come out of him. I wasn't expecting that.
Scared if you're sitting behind the goal, but not if you're actually the goalie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not me. So
Because
I
it's not
won't
going to
be.
go
Yeah.
near him. It's going to go outside the post.
No, I mean, he stung Berkey's hands on one.
Yeah, he did. I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
But, I mean, I think it's a good skill to shoot that heavy ball, especially if he can ever learn to, like, kind of skip it. Like, you know, most keepers will tell you, like, that shot that bounces just, like, a
Right in
couple
front of
feet.
them.
Yeah, is, like, so hard to time and to, like, figure out where it's going to go.
Or aim at defenders' heads.
And hope for a deflection?
No.
Or a concussion?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're not rooting for head injuries on this show.
Okay, we're not. So I mean, we're talking about the wings, but I know, you know, some people's favorite subject, Willie Agata, was kind of worthless last night.
William
You're
Agata.
right, William Agata.
Respect him while you call him worthless.
Put some respect on his name.
So we're supposed to use William for first reference because that's what his father named him William, not Willie. My man, my dad, my guy.
So he was worthless, huh? I didn't say that. Thad said that.
I didn't see much from him last night, but I mean, it almost looks like he's resigned to just not being good right at the moment. And it's sad because like before when he was not always being efficient, he was still busting his butt to do everything.
Yeah.
And it just felt like last night and maybe a couple other games he's been kind of just not I don't want to say he's not trying, but it just feels like he knows that it's just not good right now.
One of those moments, David, that you always like to reference his XG.
Mhm.
And I talk about how there are moments that he has that the way XG is scored and the way that stat is factored in benefits him and where his mistakes come. There was one of those plays last night. He had defenders on either side of him. Somebody played in a through ball, and it was a good through ball. It got to him. Yes, there were two defenders on the outside of him,
Is this the one where he tried to take it with his left?
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know exactly what he tried to do, honestly, but yes, I think maybe his left foot touched it, and nothing came of it. Like that was a chance where there is some level of an expected goal because we had a chance. There was a moment developing, but he didn't get to a moment close enough to get a shot off to where it counts as an XG. So that doesn't count against his XG on plays like that. And he does that often.
No, it does. Because there's pre-shot expected goal, there's post-shot expected goal. Just because you don't take a shot doesn't mean you get knocked for like an expected goal. Part of that's getting into spaces.
There's different XG models.
Yeah, there's different XG models. Look, Willie has not performed up to his expected goals this year, which in part has hurt the team. I think he's -5 between converted goals to what he's expected to be at. I think he's at like 12 or 13 expected goals. He's got 9, right?
Wow. So the one stat that people were holding up of like, look, he's not that terrible. It changed to where he he is way below expected goals now?
So he's towards the top of the league in expected goals. He is not towards the top of the league in the Golden Boot race. And had he converted
right,
and was on par with where he had been the previous 2 years, because last year and the year before he performed at or slightly above his expected goals. But we had this conversation with Daniel a few years ago. When Daniel had his horror season, right, where he scored 1 in the last game of the season.
Yeah.
He was still, his expected goals were really good. He just wasn't converting chances. And you have to convert for it to matter, right? None of this means anything if you can't actually score. But when you're kind of evaluating somebody's ability, getting into those spaces, being able to create is a big part of it. Finishing is a huge part of this also. But when you're trying to decide, like, does this guy have it and is he just having a bad year or does he suck? If William Agata, Mr. Agata, if he was not creating chances as the 9, that would be more troubling than if he was creating chances and wasn't finishing. Because much like Daniel, like with Daniel, it was you knew the technique was there. He just had a bad season.
You know who you remind me of right now? Vermes.
Okay.
We were creating chances. We just didn't convert.
Was that a compliment or I couldn't tell the way you said that, if that was a diss or a compliment.
Well, anybody's conversation can be taken one way or another. How do you take
observation.
that? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I was looking for that word. I just said conversation.
Well, I mean, what I will say is, in years past, we did create many chances and didn't convert. And when Peter would say at the end of the game, you'd be like, yeah, I wish we'd been more clinical. We'd be leading the league.
Yeah.
This year, we've not created chances and we haven't converted, and that's why we suck.
Bringing it back to this game, St. Louis, I got the impression, maybe after they saw the lineup, after they saw 120 minutes for Sporting before, but they came out knowing they were going to win that game. What did you guys see the actual kickoff? They kicked it off. It looked like a youth soccer game where one team is way better than the other and they know it. Or it looked like varsity playing against JV and they're like, we're not even going to do anything. We're just going to kick the ball off and just run straight at them and see if we can run all the way through them. And they instantly got a foul in a dangerous spot. I was like, these dudes think that they're going to boss this game.
They mostly did, but I mean, that's also how their style of soccer had been, is you just go straight at people.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it was that much different. But yeah, I mean, they had to be confident knowing that, again, Sporting played Wednesday, 120 minutes, physical, emotional, all that stuff comes into play. And then you look at the lineup, and a lot of it is players who would not normally be starters, but guys not in their best positions and all that sort of stuff. So
okay, you've got Edward Leuven, Klaus, Teichert, or whatever his name is, their other, DP basically. Like, you've got our problematic Brazilian friend, Klaus, with his
Questionable heritage.
And you're looking across the pitch at, Leibold, the song in the midfield,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, you wouldn't feel confident. You've got John Poolskamp, and I like John Poolskamp, but he's not Tim Melia.
He's not the future that we should be going for.
Oh, see, you're making a big statement there, because I think for a long time that's been the question. Like, is he? Or we hope that he is.
He's still extremely young, but Tim Melia is like one of the better goalkeepers to have played in this league.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, statistically.
One of the best
one
stories, at least, right? As a pool keeper, and then he comes in as a legend.
The best PK shot stopper of all time.
Yeah.
And if he's not statistically number one, he's number two behind Raimondo, but Melia's better. And, Melia's a beast and is, certainly a sporting legend. Arguably would be an MLS Hall of Famer. Like, he is
Yes, he's
elite.
better than Poolskamp. We rotated the lineup, and Poolskamp was playing.
Yeah, but, like, they had, all of their, major players in, and we didn't.
Yeah, because they didn't play on Wednesday.
Right.
They were rested.
Right. But, if you're Klaus and you're like, hello, I'm Klaus, I have all this problematic heritage. I'm here to kick soccer balls, and look at these other guys over here. I'm a superstar. Look at these dudes. Wouldn't you just run down and try to do a thing?
Also, the foul got called on the foul got called on Remy, but Klaus just kind of ran into him.
Yeah.
Like, I know Remy kind of sticks his foot out there, and it's probably a foul, but also a defender's allowed to exist. Like, the guy just ran right over him.
There was a couple of those last night where they just ran into somebody and Sporting got called for it. But,
Yeah.
But then again, that was after a lot of Zoe just running into guys. And then going, what? He was in my way.
We talked all this time about the roster. Without Johnny Russell, Thad, somebody else had to step up and wear the captain's armband.
Captain Jake Davis. That should be like a movie.
I'm really happy for Jake. Carrie, that was cool. Jake, that was the one, right? I like the choice.
Yeah, I did too. Actually, after the LAFC game, my friends and I were talking in the Uber, and we were just going down the line, looking to see, assuming Johnny doesn't come back next year, who gets that captaincy that we would still, I don't know, that's constantly getting minutes, because Daniel's not constantly getting minutes.
Yeah,
at the moment.
That's
we're
true.
What if we understand it's gonna be a long shot, but what if Jake Davis gets the band? And then it happened, and we were screaming.
There was a period back when Beasler was young, and I kept looking at him thinking that he would be a good captain just because, he kind of embodies the city. That's what I see in Jake. Maybe even more so because he's more feisty than Matt was. And I think sometimes that is required in a good captain for this type of team. So I look forward to that. And I walked by a staffer last night and said, man, Captain Jake. And they go, yeah, I know. I said, I could see him being a full-time captain in a couple years. And they looked at me and kind of pointed at their head, and I'm like, okay. They agreed. I'm not going to out who they were. They weren't in the coaching staff, so I will say that. But
I do like that you equated Matt Beasler to and Jake Davis is a homegrown, and he's been in Kansas City for a long time, but he's not from Michigan. He's born in New York, raised in Michigan. Not a Kansas Citian, not a native.
he's not a native Kansas Cityan, but he's
Academy.
But
the guy with a
raised.
computer in front of him is asking other people what.
well, I thought he was from Michigan if I remembered, but then when I Googled him, it said he was from Rochester, New York.
Oh,
well, he grew up in Michigan.
Yeah, okay.
At some point,
That's what
came
threw me.
down when he was a teenager to be in the academy. But if you talk to him, man, he's he lives and dies for this club at this point. When talked about what would it mean to win an Open Cup, he goes, my first game that I saw in person was an Open Cup, and it was this, and he lives and dies for this club. And I'm not going to say he's going to be the greatest player in MLS history or in sporting history or whatever, or he probably will never be the greatest player on the team that he's on, but he's a kind of guy that like a Roger that you would love to have be out there at any time?
He's from Rochester, Michigan.
Oh, okay. Oh. I didn't realize we had a Rochester, Michigan. No disrespect, Michigan. But, dude, I love
settling that, Carrie.
Thanks,
The
Gary.
phone is overpowering the computer.
Yeah.
In all fairness, her iPhone's probably a lot nicer than this computer. But, no, I mean, I love Jake. Jake's awesome. And it's nice to see him get rewarded for working so hard.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there might be some like big name signing comes in and gets named the captain and all that stuff.
Like Eric Tommy. I mean, is Eric Tommy not the heir apparent?
Depends on whether he's still here.
Fair. Don't jump to segment 3 yet.
Carrie, you said something there briefly and we just skipped right over it, but it gave me chills. There are 2 games left, and I'm not ready to do the what if Johnny Russell is not here next year show.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to talk about Jake being captain for 1 game. You're scaring me now.
I deeply apologize.
And he gave the armband to Johnny when he came in. So
Okay.
he did the proper respect to the captain.
Okay. All right. Final thoughts on this moldy cherry on top of a bad season.
Well, for the St. Louis game, I hate to say it, but if I wasn't a Kansas City or a Missouri fan and I was just an outsider looking in, it was a good game. I mean, there were 3 bangers in it. St. Louis had 2, we had 1. They were just rockets.
Yeah. Fair. It was
Kick her out, please. What are we doing here? Sorry, Carrie. This is a heavily partisan podcast when it comes to St. Louis.
Yes.
You can just put your headphones down and we'll see you
And
next
walk
week.
out, yeah.
David, you don't have that power.
of my trips over there for sporting St. Louis City games, it was nicer. Not the best one was the win in playoffs. Thank you, man.
Words.
She's my conscience now.
3 a.m.
Yeah,
Daughter
that doesn't
flat
help.
tire.
Yeah, none of that helps. But plus just being old, I admit it. But that was obviously the way better result and way more fun watching all the dejected people. But this one just felt a little bit more like, St. Louis fans have a understanding that, we're not going to just dominate the all of soccer now.
They were humbled.
They were somewhat more subdued. They were still some idiots, but I mean that's in every crowd. They were a little more chill. They were watching the game. They enjoyed it. I found it funny too because Sporting could have knocked them out just by getting a result against them from the playoffs, but Minnesota had to do was get a result, and they're knocked out too. So at one point, I looked up and saw the score. They put all the scores around the league. They put Minnesota, Colorado as 0-0, even though I knew at that time it was 1-0.
Oh yeah.
So they must have just done that to give everybody a little hope.
Right.
And
that's a good catch. Well done finding that.
I took a picture of it too, just to make sure that I was not mistaken, or I could show it later. But anyway, they were walked out and they're all happy. People yeah, we're going on, and I'm like, no, guys, you're done. I wasn't trying to point this out. I mean, I wasn't going to argue with anybody, but and then as I was walking out trying to get to the photo workroom so I could then get to the post game presser, all that stuff, some security guard stops me and points. There's 6 kids out there or whatever, little kids, 2-3 years old. They're all cute. But there was a couple moms taking pictures. They all had little jerseys on, this is another observation. If you look in the crowd last night, there's different T-shirts and stuff. But all the jerseys are only 2 different types because they've only existed for 2 years.
Yeah.
They don't have a whole lineup of different jerseys. So I that was one note. But anyway, I'm walking out and the security guard stops and points and all those kids, and she goes, "Isn't that cute?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Wouldn't that be a great picture?" I said, "For somebody who cared." And then I walked on.
You're saying she saw a photographer walking by and was like, "Oh, my kids are so cute. Everyone cares about my kids and how cute they are. He's going to want to take a picture."
It was a security guard. It wasn't even a mom.
Oh. Carrie, I appreciate your objectivity and bringing that to the show. And I'm going to go ahead and kick David out. And we'll be right back. All right. Open Cup final. I was kind of excited to talk about this one. Less so about the Sporting KC game. Because you know what? I'm going to say it again. Thad said this about the St. Louis game. I'm going to say it again. The boys made me proud in this Open Cup final. Wednesday night in LA, 3-1 after extra time. They got it to extra time. They made me believe. Carrie, there were 600 people there.
There was.
They all believed at some point, right?
Yes. There was front office in one section. They flew all of them out, and then there was
Cool.
just the regular supporters, and they said there were 600.
Yeah.
I believe them.
500 or 600 supporters and then like 150, 200 staff members.
Oh.
So they took everybody in case it was actually a win.
And there was reason to believe. David, they got it. I know. Yeah, David's not actually kicked out. He's returned.
I'm back.
I made him leave for the whole break,
That's right.
which I guess was just a break. But he's back. David, I know you were not happy throughout the game. You were writing our recap for it. At one point in the game, he was sending dejected messages in the Slack.
I don't know that that's true. I have a different memory than you do.
No creativity, nothing in the midfield. We can't do
yeah.
anything. Can't get the ball up the field. How are we ever going to score?
We were toothless going forward. Yes.
Toothless. That's one word I was remembering that you said.
You did message me and say, don't be bitter when you write the recap.
Yeah, after I saw you saying all of these things, I'm like, oh God, we're going to get one of David's like angry recaps here after they lose.
First of all, my recaps are beloved by all.
Yes, except for the team is like.
I don't know that they've complained about his recaps much.
Okay.
I've never been scolded for one of them.
That's good. I just.
Of all the people that I've ever had the team talk to me about on our site, David is pretty low.
We want to maintain like some semblance of journalism on the site. And I
Yes.
just didn't want to have like an angry screaming recap about how terrible everything is.
So like no clickbait headlines or false, lineups hoping for people to just be clicking and engaging and stuff like that. I don't know. Did anybody like write a lineup that was, obviously not smart?
Well, you didn't like my lineup?
Oh, there's other people that didn't like that lineup too. I got accused of nobody on our site knows anything about soccer.
I was just going with what I believed the lineup would be. I really didn't think Jake Davis was a meaningful part of the lineup.
Oh my God.
But how do you feel now?
Oh my God, Jake had such a good game. One of the best tackles I've ever seen.
He had a couple of them. He was good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going back through our Slack, and frankly, Cody, I think you were more negative than I was.
Probably.
I will say I was critical of our lack of ideas going forward, and then we scored a goal. Look, Sporting was very obviously less talented overall as a team than LA.
Yeah.
Their starters are probably better than our starters. I mean, I don't know that that's really in dispute. They have a deeper bench. We played, a really valiant game for 90 minutes, and I do think they played hard in extra time, and the wheels fell off.
Yeah. It had to be Kai Kamara, didn't it?
I noted, I think, in a comment on the article that, that it's on its face, it's Kyrie's fault for letting Kai come across him. Kyrie had a great game. Kyrie did a really good job shutting down Bouanga. Kyrie's just not a natural defender. It's not where he's trained for the last 25 years. So like those instinctual things of like knowing that run's coming and everything, that's just not, that's not his game.
Yes, that's true. But also he had been doing better at that than you would expect.
Yeah.
And Kai Kamara is a legend of this league at doing exactly that thing of sneaking in, wait until he watched Kyrie turn around, identify where he was, and then changed his route. Like, that is what Kai Kamara has made a living doing in this league for over a decade. And yeah, it happened against Kyrie, But I watched that because I saw it developing. It was like all in slow motion leading up to the ball's on the other corner. I see Kai by himself. I see Kyrie by himself. And you can see it all happen. Kyrie turns and looks. He knows he needs to be ready for someone. He turns and looks at Kai, gets ready for it, and then Kai just does what he does and sneaks in on his shoulder and gets it. And yeah, it was really, I really feel bad for Kyrie there because he played a good game.
He had a very good game.
Yeah. I saw some tweet afterwards that, the two guys that are at fault for this loss because, Sporting should have dominated that game if it wasn't for Vermes and Shelton.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was a really good game plan that was executed really well, and Shelton was a really good player in this game. The hate is unreasonable.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask if we could go back to like the actual starting lineup and how did you guys originally feel about it? Because when I looked at it, my friends and I were like, this is not gonna be a great lineup. But I do think that Peter actually got it right.
Yeah.
Even with when you look at Castellanos in the back, that was my one that was like, I'm not sure about this when we have Rosiero on the bench. But I think they did great.
Yeah, Thad, we talked about that it seems like Vermes can scratch out a draw if he needs to. Almost got there. Got it to 90 minutes at least.
Yeah, and they're bringing guys off the bench. Campos, he's really good.
Yes.
And
yes, he is.
still trying to kind of find his way a little bit with LAFC, but the guys they subbed on the bench was probably as good as our starters, if nothing else, and they were fresh, and that made the difference.
As good or better. David, you know when I actually truly started believing in this game was after the second or third big Tim Melia save. Maybe after the one that went off of his face. That was when it felt like the games where Sporting does it.
Yeah.
When Sporting was playing really good and winning games at the top of the league, Tim Melia was bailing them out of games regularly, where the defense was giving up moments, but Tim Melia was there somehow, a miraculous moment. And he had 2 or 3 of them in this game, and it truly started to feel like something magical was about to happen.
Yeah, it's tough to say in a game where you give up 3 goals that the keeper was great, but he was. Tim was up for it.
Yeah,
and I don't
absolutely.
think any of those are really on Tim. He was up for it. He made some huge saves. He played great.
One of those 3 wasn't even a goal.
Yeah, it was. It counted.
It counted. But
You're talking about the first goal, the opening goal for LA.
When it was offside.
I mean, it was pretty tight.
a foot.
Hey, that guy on
they've
Twitter,
called back ones that were inches.
that guy on Twitter released his findings.
He
He
did.
called it a foot offside. That's our official soccer rules, is that guy on Twitter.
Yeah, and he's really objective. He is a Sporting fan. He actually sits in the same section as you do, Carrie.
Wait, what?
The
that
soccer
guy's in
trigonometry
Kansas
guy?
City?
Yes.
No kidding.
What?
Get
I
him
love
on the
I love
pod.
trigonometry guy.
What a get for KC that guy's here.
Yeah, he's
This is why we're soccer capital.
Soccer freaking capital,
They don't do
baby.
math in St. Louis.
yeah. I've seen their education system.
Aren't you a product
He
of it?
came out of it.
No, I'm a product of the St. Charles education system.
Oh,
That's all the same thing.
the Chuck.
I'm not even sure if they're. I guess they're part of the St. Charles education system. I don't know.
All right. What else from this game? How about Johnny Russell? Johnny just had a look. So he's the club's leading scorer in that competition. He wanted a trophy so bad, and he just had that look in his eye that was like, I'm absolutely dead, but you will have to kill me to get me off the field. He was going to be on the field for PKs.
Yeah, I mean that was like a William Wallace kind of moment.
It was. That's what it felt like.
That
You didn't like your own reference there? I liked it.
I just looked around to see if anybody else looked at me like who or agreed. I mean, you did, but
Yeah.
Carrie's like, I don't know. I don't care.
No, don't know.
Braveheart?
don't know
Oh, yeah.
Braveheart?
Carrie doesn't like movies. All
but you
movies.
don't know Braveheart?
No.
Oh my god. Well, you probably weren't alive when it was made.
Was I even alive when that movie
Yes,
was made?
because you have the boyish thing going on, but you're an old man. at this
What? I
point.
guess that was 90s, right? That wasn't
yeah, like
80s.
96.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I was alive for that.
I don't know when it was made.
It's still before my time. If I was an infant, it's before my time.
I know who William Wallace was before the movie. So
So I would hate to stereotype
Scotland.
an entire group of people, but I'm going to. The Scots just play hard. Like all of the Scottish players who have made it to MLS, like they don't flop. They all seem tenacious,
It's like it's made up of all guys that you would see in the English Championship.
Yeah.
Just gritty.
Yeah. And
Yep.
and that is, I think, one of the big things that this city's fallen in love with Johnny about. I mean, obviously he's great. The goals are awesome. He has a lot of personality. All of those things help, but this city loves watching him get hacked down, get up, finish a play. Right?
And it happens every game.
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly what game it was, but I remember distinctly watching him get hit, like his legs kicked out from under him. The ball keeps scooting. Johnny gets back up instead of rolling around, chases it down, and I think either scored or gave or made an assist. And you're like, that's what people want to watch.
Yeah.
And it embodies who he is as a player. It's the whole thing of like, my legs are about to fall off, but I will be taking these PKs. He's been an awesome club captain. He's been a huge part of our identity over the last few years.
I know, and how sad is it that a huge part of our identity over the last few years was a bad team? I hate that. We wasted many Johnny Russell legendary years.
I really wanted the Open Cup win so that Johnny could paint the wall, and then we could move on with no regrets, but that's not what's happened. And I think Scottish players play hard and they don't die because they wear kilts. They don't want to be embarrassed.
Have you seen Johnny in a kilt?
I liked the William Wallace reference better than the kilt joke.
Oh, well. I won't be here all week.
But yeah, LA brought in Christian Oliveira off the bench. They paid $4 million for him. They paid a $4 million transfer for this dude, and he came off the bench. Like, he does not consistently start for them.
They brought two guys off the bench that would probably be our best player.
Like Hugo Lloris and Olivier Giroud are old, but still good enough to, they were like best in the world guys in their peak.
Yeah.
And now, they're just better than everybody other than the team from Miami in the league. But, Bogusz was $1 million player that they got. Like, their team is just loaded.
Yeah.
They're just stacked.
They are. And Sporting took them to the wire. I was proud of them.
You can't really compare whenever we bring in people like Leibold on and Agata on. And yeah.
It's true.
They just don't compare, even with speed or money or value or anything.
But then I'm going to say it. I'll take some heat for it. But doesn't that mean we have to give Peter Vermes some credit here? Peter Vermes, the coach, does well with the bad roster that Peter Vermes, the technical director, put together.
Yes. I agree, actually. I think that he makes the most of what he has. That's not always great, but he makes the most out of what he has. People don't like how the team looks sometimes, but he's overachieved. He always talks about, we punch above our weight. Well, they do, but part of that is that you need to get a better weight class.
Yeah. Which they've said they're going to do. They just wanted to wait that summer window. Not yet, but we will do it. It's coming. The next 3 windows. Not that one, but the next 3.
Well, they brought in one player. He's made a big impact so far. I've seen him in training. He's tall.
On that training ground, he is massive.
He hasn't done anything wrong yet.
He is a big man.
Thad, do you remember
yes,
the Italian guy that Sporting brought in like 2013 who never played a match, but he'd been like a Serie A player?
I have no memory of this.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think they paid like a fee for him, but
no, because they don't do that very much.
Federico Basson?
Basson.
Federico Basson.
That sounds familiar.
Bessone.
Yeah. And I don't think he ever played a match for Sporting. Oh, I guess he's Argentinian. But we got him from, maybe he never played no, he's Argentinian. That's my bad. Sorry, Federico. But yeah, played in the Prem, played all over like England, like the football. Like the
and
tiers
what made you think of this random player from a decade ago, 11 years ago?
So Sporting signed him in September of 2013. And I was like, oh, this guy has like a pedigree. Like, this guy's going to play for us. And I don't think he made a single appearance and then got released.
Couldn't get Sporting fit.
I don't remember what happened there, but yeah, he was a name.
That was peak Sporting fit era.
There's quite a few guys that have come in and nothing ever really panned out from it. The Greek guy, Kounanakis, back in like 2010. Really nice guy.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he sat down and explained my name to me for like 35 minutes one time.
He had to explain Thad Bell.
Thaddeus. The history of Thaddeus.
Ah.
I knew a lot of it, but he gave me a lot more.
Is Thaddeus on your birth certificate?
Yes. Thaddeus Patrick Bell.
Cool. And the last 4 of your social are
17A5.
We'll be right back. We kind of touched on Peter Vermes there for a second, and it reminded me of and it reminded me that Tom Bogert was on CBS Galazzo Network, and they were having a discussion about him. And Thad, he said as much that you and I have always kind of said, and that's what I echoed in that last segment, was that Peter Vermes, the coach, is still seemingly pretty good and knows what to do in this league. It's just he's been hindered by Peter Vermes, the technical director. And that's the problem here for me. I'm as frustrated as everybody is. I tend to agree with Mike when he's like, it feels like it's time for the club to move on. I tend to agree with that sentiment, but at the same time, I do believe he is still a good coach on the field. And that being said, that's the change they've already made. He's not the technical director anymore. He's not the one that's building the roster from here on out. I know there's the complicated thing with the chief soccer officer. It's like he's going to be that guy's boss, but he answers to that guy, but he's also his boss, and none of it really makes any sense. It is still a weird situation, but I guess they bought more time in my eyes on the wait and see. We're building we're doing a rebuild over the next 3 windows. Peter's not the technical director anymore. I guess I'm just on a wait and see. Where do you stand with this, Thad?
I don't really disagree. I mean, I like Peter as a coach. I think he is a good coach. Is there better coaches? Yes, obviously. Do I agree with every movie he's ever made or who he starts or any of that stuff? No. But he is a good coach. He's been hampered by the roster building that they've done, and some of that
he did.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've learned more about how they weren't able to make the moves that they wanted to make, or they weren't able to plan. That was the biggest issue, I think, is it wasn't even just that they didn't get as much money from the owners to go out and do extra spends, but they didn't have knowledge of how much they had. So you couldn't go into a season and go, well, I know later on I can spend an extra $2 million in that window, because they had to go on each oh, here's this player, we want this player. Can we get him? Well, do we need him? By the time they get it all decided, that player might be gone, or maybe they get him, but it's all a question. So when Vermes, the technical director, looked at the roster, he tried to maximize it with the money they had. Mm-hmm. It obviously doesn't always pan out that way. I mean, you try to play Moneyball, and sometimes it works well, and sometimes it doesn't. And last year, it didn't work so well. Some of it was injuries last year, blah, 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 all that stuff. But so that side of it, I give him a little benefit of the doubt, and I know a lot of people don't, because he was the technical director.
So you still believe in Peter Vermes as the manager?
Yes.
Carrie, what's your latest with the Peter Vermes situation?
Yeah.
That got amped up there,
are you
punching the
good?
microphone. You got ready
I was
for
waiting
this.
for Carrie to come out swinging. I was like, I hit the microphone, so I apologize.
I unfortunately am in my Peter Vermes in era right now.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Wow, she really liked that Open Cup performance.
I did. Like I said, well, like you said, Peter Vermes can do a draw in any situation. And so if we do somehow get to a cup again, Champions Cup, we do have the possibility of winning.
Forgot about that.
Yes, or drawing, and then we'll see. But, I mean, I've been very publicly Vermes out on Twitter for quite a while.
Yeah.
But I think I'm willing to give him the windows. It's either that, or we have a awkward 2 to 3 year buffer season where we don't know what's going to happen. They could be mid, good, probably bad.
I mean, it's you either accept it or you're just screaming into the void relentlessly because the dude's not going anywhere.
Yeah. He's got at least this next year.
Yeah.
Because you got to start to see how the roster comes together and what he can start.
Oh my God. What if
with it.
next year is no better? What if we have to do this again next year?
Okay. So
Draft picks.
Oh.
yeah. I don't know if he's guaranteed next year. Right. Like he will start next year.
Yeah.
And the ownership, I think, wants to give him the time. But how often have we seen this in any sport? Like, if there is a fan revolt, movement will have to happen. And I do think Peter is a better coach than he is a technical director. I think the league has moved past him as a technical director, whereas a decade ago, he was on the cutting edge of everything. He was so clever and understanding and moving the rules. I think that has passed him by with how you have to build for this version of MLS. I do think he is a good manager. I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
I think he has hampered himself as a coach with him as a technical director. The only reason I will say I think the team probably ought to move on is that this year, especially the stadium, the team, everything has seemed stale. Mm-hmm. The fan base has dropped off, and it doesn't help that the Current are great, that the Chiefs are great, that the Royals are great, that the expectations for the local football teams were sky high, even though my Jayhawks have been bad. But in an increasingly competitive sports market, Sporting is falling behind. And so this club has to adapt and it has to innovate. And what made it so special a decade ago when we won MLS Cup was that we had Rob Heinemann doing all of these things that seemed like they were on the cutting edge. And then there was an almost unprecedented amount of fan engagement where you'd have the beer corner and then, chucking pretzels and peanuts into the stands and into the cauldron and whatever.
Good times.
The club doesn't have that anymore. The game day atmosphere is stale, and it's gotten better than it was, but
Is that Peter Vermes' fault?
No. But what I'm saying is, as an organization, if you want to reignite the fan base, you may just have to make moves, make changes. Because when you trot out the same old, when we go out next year and it's still Peter and it's still the I Believe chant and it's still the same food and the same everything.
They don't even do the I Believe chant anymore. They already got rid of that one.
My point.
Who got rid of that?
Well, I don't know. They don't do the chant at the beginning of the game anymore because in the pre-game, it's
built into the video.
Yes, and they just do it very quickly. So boom, it's done. And now the Cauldron doesn't do it anymore.
But so my point is to re-engage the fan base, they might need to make change, because what will the atmosphere be like going into next year, into the first game, when it's the same players? And I know that we have a big roster clear out coming.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
But when opening day roster has Fontes starting at center back and Vermes on the touchline, and
is Fontes going to start next year? Then I don't believe that either.
Who's to say? But
if it's Willie,
William? Do you understand my point?
Fontes is back as the 9.
He'd be an okay target, man. I don't know that he could score, but he could probably hold the ball up a little bit.
Yeah,
he's a big guy.
He could. It'd take a while to get up there.
That's all that Polito can do is hold up the ball up there. So
my point,
a couple of guys that can hold balls.
my point more than anything is that this team, the club as a whole, from ownership down, needs to dig in and double down on getting back to our identity, which was being on the cutting edge of everything, being innovative.
But they've already said Peter's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're signing these players. The only option they have to accomplish what you're asking is sign 3 big, awesome players that we're all very excited about.
No, it's not. It's about being innovative and on the cutting edge of everything. So it's reinvesting in their scouting department. It's reinvesting in the physio staff. So because we tend to have maybe not more injuries than everybody else, but how many guys have had that debilitating knee injury that Polito had, that
Ndembe.
Kenda,
that
not Logan.
Felipe. Logan just did his ACL and kept playing.
Yeah.
But, it's making sure that our club, because we're not going to be Miami. We're not going to play in the red. We're not going to be operating at a net loss. But it's that when we do this, we do it better than everybody else for less money, right? Like that we're finding guys who aren't coming from Europe. Vermes' profile for an ideal player is a Spaniard or a Frenchman, right? But it's a European-based player who's not sticking around in the top European leagues.
And honestly, where you're going there, I think is right. That is the strategy that this club is going to have to do, obviously. Isn't Peter Vermes the exact coach you would want to do this? We've all kind of acknowledged he has the ability to get more out of less.
Well, like I said, my issue is not with Peter the coach. It's with Peter the technical director, the sporting director, the CEO. But
he's not already. He's already not. That's my problem with this conversation, because I keep going back to that. I'm angry too, but he's already out of that position. He's not in that position anymore.
But he's that guy's boss.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. I don't know what to do with that.
And, oftentimes with the technical director and the coach work together to like find the players that fit the profile, right? But the technical director drives everything. Here, you've got a guy who's reporting to his boss, but also his subordinate, and the boss/subordinate says, I want, this guy from Hungary. I want a guy who plays in the Bundesliga, like for one of the, relegation level teams who's going to come over here, and is not saying like, get me young dynamic players from like South America. Like when was the last time we started an Argentinian number 10? Everybody else in the league signs them. We don't. Nope, he was a 9. But
Carlos Marinelli.
I don't even know who that is.
I just went with DP Argentinian. Come on.
The ugliest player in football.
I don't know who that is. When we talk about soccer and ugly, all I know is Ted Uncle.
We're getting bogged down here.
You're getting bogged down.
Final thoughts on Peter Vermes. Are you good? Did you get all your thoughts on him? Because we're running out of time here. We've got current to get to.
It's your job to move the show along.
I know,
and I did
that, and I did that horribly. Admittedly, I did that as clunky as I could have right there. But should we move on to the current?
Yes, it's much more happy and exciting.
I know. I don't feel like it's a good discussion about Vermes, but I think we'll continue it in the coming weeks because we'll have nothing else to talk about, except of course the current, because the current are in the playoffs. Although Carrie, the draw versus Gotham yesterday, honestly, they were playing before I even was aware. I'm not ready for that early of a kickoff. That was it like 11 in the morning?
It was
Noon.
12. Yeah.
Well, 12 for them.
No, it's
And
12
11
for
here?
us.
Oh, okay. 1 p.m. kickoff.
The game
there.
was here.
Oh, it was?
Yes. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
that's
you
right.
liked my tweet of me being at the game.
Yeah, I'm still on. I was still thinking of like when I saw that it was on that early, I'm like, oh, it must be away. But yeah, I turned it on, I watched, and then forgot all of that. So yeah, Carrie, the draw against the team that was ahead of them on the table. They're trying desperately to make up the points against Washington to climb into the second spot, get home field advantage all the way throughout. I don't know how many games are left. 3 left after this. Do they have time to jump ahead of Washington, or are we conceding that, guys?
4. They got 4 left.
4 left.
I think we should be able to.
4 left, and they're 4 points down. I think 4 points down.
They're 4 points back.
Yeah. With how Washington is right now in their roster, they have a lot of injuries. So,
Okay.
I mean, always chance to.
Yeah, what happened to
Catch up.
Trinity after that? Did she play this weekend?
And she did not.
No.
Okay. So she's expected to be out a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but both those teams have injuries
So
that
you're
are above
saying
them.
there's a chance.
But this was a chance they should have taken. I mean,
Yeah.
the current scored 2 goals and drew 1-1.
Yes, they did. And the goals were there.
I think it was a slow and sloppy first half. Second half was so much better. I don't know if they got, even leading up to that first goal their first goal technically.
Yeah, whatever happened there.
Whatever happened with the ref. Even then it was kind of sloppy and slow, and then after that they just kind of got pretty in their head about it all, I think.
They did, but at the end of that game, it was there for them.
It was.
There was several opportunities in the box. Claire
Hutton. Oh my God, I cannot believe that ball didn't go in the net.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Claire.
What? But going back to that
That would have been
goal-
her first goal too, right?
No, second.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't, she hasn't scored yet.
Yeah.
Accurate, partial information.
I think you're right that she has scored, but they said after she missed that would have been her first goal.
It might have been her first league goal. I think she might have scored in the Feminil Cup or Women's Cup or
The 3D printed trophy cup.
one of those two.
I forgot about that tournament already.
Yeah.
But that's when they count the 18 different goal scorers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So some of them scored in that, but I think that was Claire was maybe the only one.
So
that-
she had one. There was at least one other moment that I'm remembering that.
They had some good opportunities that
Yeah.
just didn't go. But that was still just such a weird play, that goal that Gotham ended up with. The ref essentially backs into Michelle Cooper on a breakout and then doesn't stop the play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Michelle, you got to keep playing, right?
Yeah,
I know that play sucked.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be an interception, and then Gotham. I mean, it wasn't even like the ball was like even remote to being like halfway across the field. It was like right outside the box.
Yeah. It was a bad situation overall, and the ref should have stopped it, even if it wasn't by the law. Because by the law, if the ball hits the ref, then they have to stop it. But a player collision is not a reason to stop the game. But she should have blown the whistle and just did something to kind of reset that situation, because that was a bad situation.
You see refs do a drop ball in that kind of situation.
Well, technically by the rules, that's not a drop ball, but they should have done something, yes. And then there was just some other weird stuff that they did. There was a VAR call, and she stopped play in the midst of play.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for a stoppage.
Yeah, that whole sequence was weird.
I mean, honestly, you could just call a fake foul and then stop the game. But there was nothing happening. She just stopped the game.
Yeah.
And then came over and gave the ball to Gotham in that one after it was there. And there was no reason for the VAR call in the first place, from what I could tell. But since that game, I have essentially driven to St. Louis, saw a game, driven back, went to fix a flat tire, and then came here. So I have not really had a chance to look at highlights.
So, Current are very firmly in fourth place.
Yep.
And it's going to be a fight for second. Nobody's catching Orlando. But if you look at the schedules to finish out the season, Current have not tough games, not easy games. Everybody they're playing is kind of in that like 6 to 10 range in the standings. But Orlando plays Washington and Orlando plays Gotham.
Right.
And those are prime opportunities. Obviously the Current just need to keep winning. But they should be able to, if they can get into form, should be able to get into that second spot.
Dabinia, at times, I guess it's not always consistent. I see her make mistakes. She's not, an unstoppable player at all times. But there are moments where she just is in a mood, and she looks so much better than everyone else out there. There was a play, she took a long pass and was kind of like at a full sprint, the furthest one up the field with the defenders around her. And just her first touch on the ball was the softest, coolest touch I've ever seen. I was impressed enough by that. And then she picked her head up with all these defenders around her and played another beautiful ball for, was it Magaya? And that was another one they should have scored. But man, there are times where Dabinia looks another level ahead of all the other players on the field.
Yes, that's exactly why Dabinia has been one of the best players in the league. And I mean, that was like what Marta was at one point.
Yeah.
She's now just kind of not a nice person. But
we hate her now.
Isn't she retiring?
Hopefully.
Not yet. Christine Sinclair just announced retirement, though.
yeah.
I thought Marta was done. I thought she was done at the end of the year.
Well, she's done with international play. I can't remember if she's done with club play. Maybe she is. I mean, if we knew anybody who had Brazilian roots that could tell us that sort of thing, that would probably help.
You want me to text Klaus?
That would be problematic. But that's the skill. Like, she has not been herself for this year because she had injury at the beginning of the year. And she's kind of showed that in one of those summer cup thingies, that she was getting back to that, and she shows it in spurts. But she's always kind of done that. Like, that's like great players will often be the best player in the country for 15 minutes and then be an okay player for 70.
I mean, she was in the talks for MVP last year for the team that was the worst in the league, second worst. You don't do that if you're not an MVP.
You're not in the talks for the league MVP if you're not good, and you're really not in the talks for it for a bad team. So it's speaking of, who do you think will be MVP this year?
If it's not Temwa, I riot.
I'm with you.
It should be.
Yeah, there's a lot of idiot voters out there.
Yeah, it's the KC tax of never getting.
Guys, it's not the Golden Boot; it's the MVP.
She can have both. She should get both.
She should have both. And I mean, Barbara Banda, that everybody always talks about her, but I'm not she's obviously an amazing player. So don't get me wrong, she's in that conversation. But I
Score more goals
can't
than
see.
Barbara.
Yeah, but it's the MVP, not Golden Boot, as I just heard somebody say.
David, you mentioned their schedule for these other teams and that they both have to play Orlando. I'm going to predict a third place finish at the end of the season. I think that they can still jump ahead of Gotham.
They can.
But I also don't think it matters. I think they're going to turn it all on. They had that was like a 3-game bad stretch that has put them in this position. Dropped points here against Gotham, it's one thing. It was just 3 bad games, and now they're all the way down here. They went through a bad stretch. They're figuring things out. Got a keeper that's playing good between the pipes, and I don't think it's going to matter. I think they're going to go on a tear. They're going to see that home final at the end of the tunnel, and they're going to get there.
It's interesting because this is really a very different team than it was prior to those games because they brought in Schultz, they brought in Alana Cook, Kayla Sharples, and that's your core right there, the 2 center backs and the keeper. And Haley Mace has been playing lights out. I would not be surprised at all if she gets a call up to the national team in the next window. You've had Ellie Wheeler on the one side, and they've just been playing. The defense has been amazing, and the only goal they've given up was scored by themselves.
Love Ellie over there. Bulldog in that corner.
Yeah.
So good.
And then as their offense even gets back to form, Temoi's not slowed down. B is getting back and getting fit. Dabinia's kind of rounding back into form. Michelle Cooper, when she's healthy, is a beast out there. She starts the defense and just interrupts so much, and then has created some goals by getting down into the corner and putting that ball through. That's all looking good.
All the tools.
I think all eyes on the next game facing Louisville. I think this might kind of determine how we might look in playoffs. For some reason, Racing Louisville is always just that team that we can never get past, no matter how bad they may be or how bad we may be. It's just something about Louisville that we just cannot go down there ever and make it seem not like.
Let's see here.
A loss.
Recently, Louisville has won 6, drawn 3, and we have won 3 out of the last 12. So, yeah.
I mean, Louisville's a hard place to play if you're a Kansas City team.
Yeah. Okay.
It's difficult travel. I don't know.
Something in that water down there.
I made that road trip a couple years. Well, the first year of the Current were back when they were still WOSO, and SKC2 was playing the Louisville USL team, and the Current were playing. So it was like back-to-back games. It was not a bad trip.
I think it's gonna be a scrappy game. It was last time. That was the last-minute goal with 5 minutes past extra time.
Carrie, where are they going to finish?
Third.
Okay, you just stole mine. Okay, thank you. Let's get back to, we teased it at the beginning. David,
Yes,
2
sir.
games left. What are you looking for from Sporting Kansas City over the last 2 games? What can we hope for? What players do you have your eyes on?
At this point, play the kids and just see.
So you're going Afrifa and Vargas on the wings the rest of the way.
100%.
So we may never see Johnny Russell ever again.
He deserves some minutes in the last. If this is going to be the end of Johnny with Sporting Kansas City, he deserves
Curtain
to be
call.
subbed off
Yeah.
and have his curtain call at home.
Yeah.
That's not a Vermes strategy.
It's not, but he deserves it.
I don't disagree.
So play the kids, yes, but there are contracts that are up, decisions that need to be made. I assume likely there already have been made, but is there anyone that can play themselves into another year of a contract or could play themselves out of a contract?
I don't think so. And personally, I always hate that. Like, oh yeah, like the end of the year, play these guys and see how they do.
Yeah.
They weren't good enough to take over from the guys who were bad for the most of the season.
Yeah.
So the reason you play young guys or guys who didn't get much time is because you are going to keep them because of the way the contracts are, and you just want to give them a little more experience. But I don't think anybody's playing themselves into anything. If anybody has this year, it's been like Basong, who's been.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I won't say a revelation, but kind of a revelation in the midfield with him and Jake.
Way better than I would have expected.
Yeah. He's not going to be the wise, experienced DM, the defensive midfielder that Nemanja can be, but Nemanja's not there. And although he might be back, I'd love to see Joaquin get into one game.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we got to get him on the field. 1 minute of this season, please.
So the last time we talked about contracts, I got a message on our Slack channel chastising me for not looking at our own website's article that was written 8 months ago. So out of contract after 2024, Johnny Russell, Tim Melia, Andreu Fontes, Remy Voltaire, Jake Davis. Now,
Jake is re-signed.
I know, but I was chastised for not reading from the article that was written 8 months ago. So I'm reading from the article that was written 8 months ago as a bit.
And then look, we provide the proper information.
But of those guys, who are you bringing back?
Jake Davis.
Jake, Remy.
Okay.
My heart has not decided on Johnny yet.
Interesting.
That's how I feel about Tim.
See, I'm all in on bringing Tim back. 2 more years.
He is 37. Is that right? I believe. Carrie's on it because Carrie's quicker than David, who I would call the stat man, but
He's 38.
38. Okay. 2 more years. I mean, come on.
Keepers can play
Well,
at
if
a more advanced age. Also, he's an experienced guy. Like, worst case scenario, he loses the job to John or whoever else we bring in.
Well, Carrie just declared for the world to hear that Pulskamp is not the one for the future.
We're not there yet.
Wow.
Don't back down. Don't back down. He's not the one,
No,
Carrie.
we just haven't gotten to him in the list of the roster of the people with the contracts.
Saving it for a few minutes.
Okay.
I mean, so look, if we bring back Johnny, it has to be as a super sub, right?
Yeah.
Like a 1 year, 30 minutes off the bench, locker room guy, right?
Vibes.
Does he want that?
You think he wants to go play somewhere else as a starter, is what you're saying? Or he would rather retire?
I don't know. I don't know the guy like that. All I know is that
I think he likes Kansas City. I think he wants to stay here.
I would think it's either KC or Scotland or bust. Scotland or bust.
my interactions with Johnny are pretty limited to, hey man, your suits are great. Where does one get one? And him being like, I'll never tell. That's about the extent of the like non-soccer interactions that Johnny and I've had. We aren't on the level where I can be like, are you retiring? Are you going back home? Do you want to come back again? What, like, that's a Thad question.
I think Johnny would like me. I think we'd be friends.
I don't.
I think he would like me. I think he would have fun hanging out with me.
I think he would see your red hair and like a bull, it would just enrage him and he would see you as a threat.
Ever since I started this at the blog, it had always been kind of my dream to befriend one of the teams. Like I'm gonna want to make one of them my best friend, and I think it's Johnny. I'm running out of time. I need to hurry.
So, Johnny and Tim, it's kind of coin flip as to whether you bring them back as like an experienced guy, a locker room guy. We all agree Fonte's out.
Yes.
This isn't the show exactly that I wanted to do here.
Oh,
because
well,
the season's not over yet.
I mean, it is.
This was what
it
are we
is, though,
looking
but-
for the rest of the season?
We got to have postseason content.
Yeah.
Sure. But so then, okay, so
Not that we won't discuss this.
Of those
separately.
guys,
looking at guys who are who have an option, who are out of contract but have an option. You've got Tommy, William Agata, Ndinbe, Caden Pierre. Again, I'm reading from the 8-month-old article that I was told to read from. Robbie, Janice, Castellanos, Memo, and Ozzy Cisneros.
Yeah, so all of those names, the club's decision has been made already.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some of them have been made already, like shipped overseas.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah,
Ozzy
literally already made.
What's going on with Ozzy?
Yeah, that was the only name that I wouldn't, quite know what the club's opinion is there.
I have not followed Ozzy at all with his loan, so I am assuming that he is not in the immediate future, considering they didn't play him with their own 2 teams. So,
Thad, what is something in the last 2 games that would make you happy to see?
I don't know if I want to say happy, but I will be interested to see who will win the Golden Boot for the Sporting, because currently it is William Agata with 9, and you have Eric and Allen with 7. So could one of those guys score a couple goals and at least share the Golden Boot with a guy who we've
Oh,
we've criticized in a lot of ways. We love the guy. He's a really nice guy. And,
yes.
And we love some of the things he's done, but I just want to see who's going to win the Golden Boot. And I'd almost want it to be somebody who's a little more clinical.
No, this season, we deserve it. This season deserves to have Willie Agata as the Golden Boot.
William.
So I have a Mike stat.
Okay. Mike stat.
Ta-da! This is fresh in from Mike, like 5 minutes ago. Last night was the loss number 17 in league play this year. It's the most in a non-shootout season in KC history.
17 L's.
Part of that is that there's more games, but yeah, that's a little sad stat considering there's 2 more games that they can improve upon that.
Oh, man. We could hit 19 losses.
And who's the next game? Who they play next?
Los Angeles Football Club.
Oh, yeah. Another LA game. That's right.
If we win this, they have to give us the cup.
Yeah. This is the one that counts.
This is the home and home. There's an aggregate. I mean,
Here we go. We just got to win by 2, and then they'll do PKs at the end of it, just for fun.
well, if we won by 2, well, if it's 2-0, we'd win based upon the aggregate and the home
Away
goal.
goals.
Are we counting away goals?
I think I didn't actually FIFA stop doing that.
Yes.
I
Well, depending on the competition.
yeah.
We're making up a rule that this is a second leg of that. We can make up whatever damn rule we want to.
Here's the thing. LA is going to come for the throat because LA is still in contention to win the West.
Yeah. Second place at the moment.
Second place, they are 6 points back with a game in hand.
Oh, they're not going to get that.
Probably not, but they beat us and they're 3 points back with 2 games left.
Could we spoil somebody's season besides our own?
Honestly, I would rather LAFC win the West than LA Galaxy. And Ilie Sanchez deserves all the happiness that one can get.
Yes, he does.
You're leaving out Kai.
Yeah,
Kai deserves most of the happiness that anyone can get. Ilie deserves all of it.
I like Kai. I don't want to have a stained glass of him like I do with Ilie.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I love Kai, but he's not a stained glass guy.
I mean, he is for the league as a whole, but he's only played like a year and a
Right.
half at like every team available.
Right, and stained glass would make sense because it would be all of
12
the colors
clubs.
that he has
Exactly.
been in.
All 12 clubs.
So there's a game coming up on Thursday that I'm very excited for. That is a non-MLS game. Botswana and Cape Verde and the
Hey.
Africa Cup of Nations qualification group stage.
Botswana, okay. I'll
Go
keep an eye
Zebras.
on it. We'll keep an eye on that one.
Go Zebras.
Do you know anybody on Cape Verde?
I
must.
feel like I'm supposed to.
That's ears perked up on Cape Verde.
I could be wrong.
Who?
Hold on. I'm going not on their current squad.
Former Sporting player, SKC2 player, I think was on Cape Verde. I don't know if he still is.
I don't
Are
see
you forgetting
him.
his name? Is that why you're not saying
No,
it?
do you remember the guy whose agent came on and
Yes.
talked all that trash?
Yes.
Kevin Oliveira.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I don't see. But I don't see him in the squad. I don't see that he got called up.
No,
I don't-
because his agent ruined his career, I'm sure.
I liked Kevin Oliveira when we signed him. I was so
Oh,
excited.
I did too.
That's when I still had hope that our 2 team would actually put players on the first team.
Oh, man.
And we
I
signed him, and I was like, this dude is going to be our next like star midfielder.
Yes, he was the heir
And-
to Benny Fellhaber, is what I thought.
Yeah. And then he signed, played like 2 games, got released, and then his agent came onto our website and talked all that shit.
Oh, his agent is
Yeah.
a crazy person. Absolute crazy person.
Yeah, let's not like mention his name because I don't want to like will that into existence of him contacting us.
I would
tell you
I
if
would
I-
love that though.
I couldn't tell you if I wanted to.
I think I know what it is. But yeah, Kevin Oliveira, I think was Cape Verde national team for a while. I don't know if he still has any.
He plays in Cyprus. I wonder if he and Jean-Yves know each other.
They could probably talk shit on Sporting.
I need to read Mike's article about former players and see what
Yes.
Janice is up to over there.
I've been trying to keep an eye on Caden Pierre, but he hasn't showed up for Genk yet.
No? No appearances for Gink. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good update. Thank you for that here at the end.
Any other good updates? Oh, to the current. I got to talk to Lauren Holiday. You know who Lauren Holiday
Oh, very cool.
is? She was in town for the community. She's the NWSL Lauren Holiday Community Impact Award. Like each team has a person, and then there's like a league
She got an
winner.
award named after her?
Yes.
Wow.
And so I talked to her by Zoom on Friday, and then Saturday before the game, I saw her, and she came over and gave me a hug. I got hugged by a World Cup champion.
Aw, that was lovely.
So
I felt very special.
Marino Shonis, who is playing in Serbia,
I didn't think that was Cyprus.
has had 7 appearances. Most recently played yesterday, played 45 minutes in a 2-1 loss. You're making a gesture. Are you wanting me to wrap it up?
He's wanting you to go
I mean,
faster.
get through this here.
Oh, okay. Well,
Damn it.
he's made 7 appearances. None of them are a full 90. He's got 1 assist.
Okay, not very good. I just wanted like he playing good or bad is what I needed out of
He's
it.
playing, which is more than he could say when he was here.
He's playing halves. He's playing 45 minutes. Okay. Thad, say something prophetic.
I am hopefully going to do something like stupid. I went to the Current yesterday. I drove to St. Louis, went to that game, came back. I'm going to hopefully go to UMKC after this pod is done, and then go to SKC2 after that. I am going to hopefully get at least portions of 4 different soccer games within 29 hours and have recorded a pod with a great group of people. That's my prophetic.
Sporting!
The other side don't seem so tough. And 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin. Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.